Hello everyone, this is an introductory video for our first Omaha related product, which is an equity calculator and range explorer. What is new about it is that it calculates full range against range equity. It does so without any approximations, so you can see equity for all the hands in range. You can sort them, you can browse them, you can do all various stuff with that. So let's get to it. This is the main view. There are a lot of things here which I'm going to explain in this video. So first let's set some kind of board. Maybe we want to do something which will produce some draws, maybe like this. Okay, so now we can calculate equity for either on preflop, flop, turn, river, or of all the streets at the same time. It's going to take a while because the Omaha ranges are quite big. There are 270,725 combinations in the range. Which in comparison to Hold'em's 1326 is a lot. That's why it takes several seconds to calculate the full equity. Now we have the results. Right now we are looking at the results for OOP. As we are doing full range against full range right now, it doesn't matter if we do IP or OOP or both. We are going to change the ranges later, but for now let's look over the results and see what's available. So for now we are doing preflop equity, and there is a table which contains all the hands in range. We can sort that table by either equity percentile, or the preflop order. I'm going to get to preflop orders later. Then we can see that the best hand equity-wise is ace, ace, 10, 10 double suited. And once we click that, we can see all the combinations in the group. So you can see that this is 6 combinations here. And then you can see all of them. You can also mark more. Or you can choose all the hands by clicking Ctrl A. And then you can scroll through all the hands. Of course, it's going to be a very long list. So I'm not going to scroll actually. So that's for preflop. We can also see what's the worst hand equity-wise preflop. That's quad deuces. Not very surprisingly, it has 9% equity. Again, those results are exact. They are not an approximation. So yeah, those small differences are actual differences, not some inaccuracies. Let's look at the flop. The best hand is probably not very surprisingly queen, queen, jack 10 with a flush draw. See those hands. Here already we can see that in within one group, so queen, jack 10 with a flush draw and all those outs, there are a bit different hands, because when we have queen of hearts, we are blocking some backdoor flushes, so that's higher equity here. And if we don't have a queen of hearts, then it's a bit lower. What our software does, it groups hands by ranks, flush drawiness, so to speak, and then outs. And the hands which are the same, according to those metrics, are in the one group. And then you can see how many combinations are in the group. So this hand has 92.5 almost equity against the whole range, and the worst hand is quad deuces again. We can also sort by equity percentile, and we can, for example, see what the hands in the middle is. So the hand in 50th percentile is exactly in the middle of the range, and this hand is ace queen 2-2, top pair without any draws. So another interesting thing we can do here is we can look at outs, and actually we have two kinds of outs. They are normal outs and what we call nouts, so outs to nut category. I'm going to explain in a while, but now for now, let's look at the outs. We can sort by it as well. So we can see that Jack 10 8 7 has 23 outs. You can see hands with the most full house outs are of course sets here. Those are double wrappers. So yeah, and there are not category outs. What it means is that cards which, for example, when we draw to a straight, cards with fill a flush are not counted, and for flush draws, cards which pair the board are not counted. So those are, you know, good outs, not outs, but good outs to the best possible category. So to a straight, to a flush, or to a full house. So I'm going to use those from now on because those are more I think useful. Because yeah, for example, on this board, when you have Jack 10, 8 of spades is really not you know, a good straight out. So it's better not to count it at all. So that's why we are doing this. You can switch between them like this, like that, but I'm going to stick to those. Yeah. So this is also pretty useful. You can look at that and see, you know, hands with outs. You can also filter hands here. You can filter by rank. For example, you can look at Ace, Ace, Jack 10. You can see that Ace, Ace, Jack 10 with both flush draw and backdoor flush draw have 81.6 equity, but Ace, Ace, Jack 10 offsuit without any backdoors or flush draws has only 65.1 against the full range. Here also you can use more complicated expressions. For now I'm only going to tell you that you can use more complicated expressions. I'm not going to elaborate much, but for example you can do nouts more than 8 and you will see hands which have at least 8 outs to nut category. So there is one more view which is interesting. This is you know, this like something like we had in Hold'em thing, like Range Explorer, and you can look at the whole range and look what part of the range is, what percentage of the whole range is set, for example. We split the set to, you know, according to flush drawiness and straight outs as well, but there's the cumulative column which you can see here. So 4% are sets, 2 pair or better are 14.9, over pair or better is 20.5. You can also sort by equity here. So, for example, hands which are at least 60% equity constitute 27% of the range. So yeah, this is a very nice, I think, tool to visualize what the range is. Once we start filtering the range, it's going to be more useful. For now, we have the whole range, so maybe, you know, that's a curiosity, but not something practical. So the last thing here is the graph, equity graph. We can look at the graph for preflop. So it's pretty flat as expected. On the flop it's less flat here. And on the river it's going to be from almost worthless hands to the nuts, right? Okay, so that's it. You can also choose how frequencies are displayed, if card removal is taken into account or not. When you have real, that's weighted by probability, so card removal is taken into account, and combos is without card removal. Both are useful. We don't know which is more useful, so we provide both. Okay, so that's it here. So now let's go to something actually practical when we can change the starting ranges here. So we click this button here, change, and there is this window which is range selector. And what we have here is we have quite a complicated and powerful expression language, which is different than what most of you are used to in tools like Pro Poker tools and things like that. The reason we introduced our language is that we needed something powerful. We needed something which is useful for all the streets, so pre-flop, flop, turn, river, and which can use expressions like equity or number of outs or category of hands, selector pair, and stuff like that. Unfortunately, nothing available right now isn't really suitable for this kind of tool and for the solver in the future, so we needed to introduce our language. The way it works is that you can specify, ranks. Like, so you have all the aces, and that's 2.6% of the whole range. You can use another row. So this is ace or king or queen. So for example, you have one of the top 3 pairs in 7.7% of cases. You can specify the whole hand as well, right, like this. You can do all kinds of stuff, like for example double pairs. You can do like here, but -3 and -4. So now you have double pairs like this. You can do connectors. You can do broadways. I described some of the hands here with comments, so you can see how to do various stuff like broadways, for example, or the best 45% from the given preflop order. And those preflop orders versus 25 and versus 50 were calculated in the following way. We dealt all the flops, and then we calculated equity against top 25% of the range. And we did that for every hand, for every flop. And what we hope to achieve is to give a slight bonus for hands which play well against top of the range. So this is probably quite good order, but maybe not perfect. I'm going to comment out all other rows, and then you can see what kind of hands are included here. In top 45%, and the best one is ace 10 double suited again. Then we have stuff like queen jack 9-5 double suited, and the last one is queen jack 8, right? So this is something you can use instead of other expressions, or you can mix as well. Something like, for example, aces suited, you can do like here. So ace and star, ace king suited is like here. So ace suited is, by the way, 16.9% of the whole range, so that's a lot of hands. You can also save the range. Once you write all those expressions, you can click here and save the range. We are going to ship some pre-prepared saves, so you can use them and experiment. So for now, maybe what we can do is calculate some simple preflop case. So let's say our opponent is showing ace and ace and king with an ace, so very tight range, and we are wondering what kind of hands have good equity against that. Also, if we are bluffing, all in, and we think we are only called with those kind of hands, we can see what are the best equity-wise hands against this kind of range. So we did that for OOP. You can see it on 8,000 combinations now. We calculate equity for both players, and then display equity for IP. So the best hands against this small range is ace 10 double suited again. So okay, of course ace are the best because we block other aces. But after that, we maybe I am going to sort it by equity. So ace king is actually the best because we block all other ace, right? So once we scroll down, we can see here is a big drop from ace king 6 offsuit to the best hand, which is not ace, that's 10-9 7-6 double suited, and this has 45% equity. Yeah, so this is something to keep in mind, and you can see those hands and see which ones are the best, which are worst. This is, I think, interesting. Even something like 10-9 4-3 double suited has 42% equity, and the worst hands to play against this kind of range is something like jack 5 7-5, or or jack like this, right? Yeah. If you are interested, you can also, like, for example, ace, but without pair of aces. this kind of range is pretty bad. Like the best hand with an ace double suited has only 40%, 41% equity, and overall we have 31. Okay. Another major feature of our Omaha tool is a tab system. What it does is lets you analyze the hands and see what range a player have at different points in the hand. The way it works is that you can define what part of the range goes from pre-flop to flop, from the flop to the turn, from the turn to the river, and then at the end you can see what hands have the highest equity against that range. So we are going to do a very simple example. Let's put some action board, maybe a flush draw on the flop, and then do the straight and fill the flush and pair the board. And we are going to analyze OOP range for now. So there is a sample BB defined range, which is 65% of all the combos. Then on the flop, let's say IP C-bets, or and then OOP defends some hands. You can again use the whole language of conditions here. Yeah, described here. But we are going to do a very simple one. We're going to do either number of outs is more or equal, not outs, to 8, or we do equity percentile is bigger than 60. So calculate all. So that's the simplest way to describe, top around 60% of hands which are expected to call a combination bet. Of course, you can input a very it's 45. Maybe we can do that. Right? That's 60%. Of course, you can do more advanced things, like you can specify that, for example, only top pair with a specific number of outs goes to the turn. But I'm doing a very simple example here because that's an introductory video. From the turn to the river, we're going to do the same thing. Maybe number of outs to nut category more than 12, equal more than 12, and that again need to recalculate. So now we can look how OOP range changes. Preflop is 65% of all the combinations. On the flop it's the same, minus card removal. Then from the flop to the turn there is 41 left, and on the river there is 25 left. So now we'd like to look at the IP range and look what hands are the best against this river range. This is useful to see. So of course the best are the nuts. It's useful to see, for example, which hands you would like to value bet. So full houses are the best, of course, and they have very high equity. But already here we start seeing interesting things, that there are some flushes which are stronger than a lot of other full houses. And one flush like that is ace jack 7-3, nut flush. And this flush is very good because it blocks a lot of full houses. It has a jack, 7 and a 3, so a lot of full houses are not possible on this board. So that's why it's better than, for example, this full house, which is easier to beat. And again, other strong full houses have a lot of blockers. So here jack and the 7. And the weakest full house in range has only 74.9 equity, right? So that's something interesting, I think. And a hand which is neither flush nor full house against 50%. There is a flush which is only 5 high flush, right? And for example, the best straight we would like to see. The best straight has 47.4 equity here, and of course the best straight is going to have a blocker to flush as well. some blockers to full houses, so F4 here. Yeah, that's something you may want to do, and it's useful to determine what hands are good against the current range. One more thing we could do that is add one more river tab, and here let's say we want to see what hands are the best value bets, so that would be hands which have the highest equity against the call-in range. And we are going to the very simplistic thing here that our opponent is calling 50% of hands on the river. Like, it's a very simple example. Here on the river, again, we are looking at IP, and hands which have higher than 50% equity are good value bets here. So, for example, this flush here might be a good value bet, but this full house here is still a good. So yeah, every full house qualifies, but not every nut flush. For example, this flush here is still not flush, but it doesn't block enough full houses, so it's not good value bet with those assumptions. Okay. You can, once you input all those conditions and create your tabs, you can save this simulation for later, and then you can load it like here. I did 3-barrel defense, which was going to have a lot of tabs for both players. So there is a starting ranges like button stealing range against big blind defending range, and then there are conditions for every player. They are a bit more advanced. Here you can see flush draws, and backdoor and outs more than 4. That's to simulate betting range. And it goes to the river, and on the river you can look at the hands as well. After the loading, you may need to recalculate all equities because they are not stored in the safe. The reason for that is that they would take about 1 gigabyte of memory, so we can't store that. But we can recalculate. Yeah. So yeah, on the river there are very small ranges already, and we can look at which hands do the best against. This is actually a very interesting example. What we did here is we tried to simulate the betting range for IP on the flop and the turn, and then we did very simplistic defense against that value bets. And then on the river we see interesting situation that even some top pairs are better than some full houses and some flushes. And the reason for that is again card removal effect, which is very important. So you can see that those top pairs have a jack and a 9 and a 2. So you block a lot of full houses, but this full house here, which is jack and the 5, doesn't block enough sets in opponent's range. So that's one way to look at the hand, analyze ranges. That works as long as you can model opponent's strategy well enough. And we think that's pretty easy to use after you get familiar with the language for the conditions. But you need to have a very good idea what your opponent is doing. We are very likely to release the Omaha solver as well. It's going to be available, but probably it will require very strong hardware, so no promises yet. But yeah, we already have it working, and we can say that it's possible to solve PLO without abstractions. So that will be in the news in some time. I hope you enjoyed the tool. We think it's pretty cool. We think it should be quite easy to use, although the more advanced functionality might require some learning curve. We like it, and we think you will like it as well. Thanks.